Should I wait a second before we start? The chairman is not going to be here today as a medical excuse. After that, it's HIPAA, baby, so we're not talking.
Ready?
Sure. Yes, Kim?
I'm ready.
Okay, thank you. Welcome to November 5th. This meeting is held in person and through the platform Zoom. A link for virtual participation can be found on the agenda or on the city's website. And I'll call the meeting to order. Approval of minutes, approved. Public comments and present. Oh, we forgot to do, where is roll call?
Right on the top.
Where's it at? Oh,
Approval.
number one. I got so busy looking at numbers that please
Okay. Councilmember Hogan,
present.
Councilmember Moore is absent. Assistant City Administrator Kim.
Here.
Coffee, I can't say that. Public Works Director McBee,
Present.
Engineer Hungerford.
We ready to roll? Okay, so start over. Approval of minutes, yes. Public comments and presentations,
None.
thank you. Building department, we got a readout here?
What?
Oh, good, okay,
I'm gonna be your building department today because Tim is at a conference.
okay.
Yep.
There you go. Really large. So, Tim says that there were a total of 19 permits issued during this reporting period for October. 14 plan reviews were completed with 8 additional projects currently under review. There are presently 213 active permits.
Oops, sorry. See, it's hard. I don't know how you do it. I'll start over. A total of 19 permits were issued during the reporting period. 14 plan reviews were completed with 8 additional projects currently under review. There are presently 213 active permits. There are 4 permits that have been approved and are awaiting pickup. And there were 70 inspections performed during the month of October. Code enforcement currently has 12 active cases in progress. The city continues to work with property owners to encourage voluntary compliance and the timely resolution of outstanding issues. I don't know if you're aware, but we are without a code enforcement officer. Okay. So Danielle has graciously taken on the letter writing portion of that, and she has taken all of the physical code enforcement files and is creating like an electronic log and a spreadsheet. So we have it all where we know what's going on with each case. So she is doing like triple, quadruple duty by being a code enforcement person as well.
Thank you.
The Soldiers Home project remains active. The proposed change of occupancy and installation of a new fire alarm system are under review for the fire marshal's office. That is why there was that charge to Ken Brule that we had talked
Correct.
about at the council meeting. The building department experienced steady permitting and inspection activity throughout October. Staff continue to coordinate with applicants, contractors, and reviewing agencies to ensure projects progress efficiently and remain in compliance with all applicable building and fire codes. And if you have any questions, I don't know if I can answer them, but I will certainly try.
So is that code enforcement job posted?
It is posted, yeah.
Okay.
And we've had 1 applicant for it so far, so it's out there on the normal job boards and things like that. We've had a couple other applications that were not feasible, but
Okay,
so it is in progress, and it's something that we're hoping to fill sooner than later, but everything has been kind of on hold until we knew the direction of how the election was going to work out.
okay. Thank you. Yeah, Danielle might as well put me on code enforcement speed dial. I'm used to it. Thank you very much. That was very efficient.
Well, he provided a great report.
Yeah, that's what I like. Okay. City Assistance, ACA Kim. Anything?
It's,
Alarm system goals?
I don't know. I'm gonna let Ryan take that one.
Yeah, for our alarm summary, I requested that from Glenn Barkus at Parametrics, and I'm awaiting that. Focus has been pretty heavily on the lagoon solids conversation the last couple of weeks, so I haven't had a chance to do a kind of a deep dive, high-level overview. What was provided to you guys last month, which was a line-by-line element. We're changing that to be a little bit more secure to protect the information. So we don't put any vulnerabilities and things like that out there in the ether for adversaries to try to take action and whatnot. But it'll be a decent summary for that, which I'll be happy to send you guys probably tomorrow. It'll be based on what was September's information. So I don't have October's yet, but we'll get that to you soon.
Okay, and as council members made aware that there are some security issues when we request some of this stuff yet?
I don't think we've specifically addressed that yet. We wanted to see what kind of reports we could generate and what kind of information was coming off of those reports before we did any further communications about it,
Okay.
so.
See what kind of feedback you get from council, if it's acceptable type of
Yeah,
thing.
well, I mean, there's not unfortunately going to be a whole lot of wiggle room. There could be reports that could be reviewed by council in person or something like that, but because of security reasons and other things that Director McBee had articulated, you know, they kind of have to stay in-house. But he does have a good summary of information that can be released to the public or for public consumption for whoever would like to see what kinds of alarm, I don't know, what kinds of alarms or whatever's on this report is certainly available to be looked at by anyone.
Okay, thank you. So that was ACA Kim's report.
Kind
Now we'll move into engineering. JC, welcome.
Thank you. Great to see everybody. As always, I'll go through them. Not a lot of updates this month, as Director McBee said, we've kind of been all hands on deck on the wastewater treatment plant, but do have some updates on the projects here. So WashDOT Fish Passage, the plans that keep on changing. So WashDOT, the roundabout late last week sent us new plans. They've changed a little bit again, so we're updating our 30% design to accommodate their plans. And so we met with Director McBee this morning, and we'll be submitting 30% design plans next week to go through with him. Stormwater plan and water system plan. Stormwater plan moving forward, we should have a submittal to Ryan to review later this week or early next. And then on the water system plan, we met with him, is that Monday or Tuesday this week? Days are blending together, but earlier this week, went through the risk and resiliency assessment, some of the things that they're seeing and on the security standpoint for the city. Director McBee did provide us comments on the plan this week as well, so we'll be looking at those and addressing those. Furthermore, we're working on the model. There's a little bit of anomalies in the water system model right now at well one between the two pressure zones. So working with city staff as well as Glenn of Parametrics that understand how that system operates to make sure that it reflects field conditions before we push forward with some of the scenarios. City standards has been somewhat put on hold. We're looking to schedule a meeting with the Public Works, a lot of the crew there. But being the focus on the treatment plant, we're asked to delay that until we at least get a contractor on board and get some of the things we needed through ecology. So we'll be meeting with the city in the next week or two on that one as well.
If I could just piggyback a little bit off of JC's stuff, for our charter park projects that we have with the sports court and the pump track, we're kind of going back the way we were before. So there was a recommendation from RCO that we combine the projects because it would be easier for reporting and it would be easier for getting reimbursements. But they've since learned that one of them, the pump track, only qualifies for a small grant award. And so if it got lumped in with the other the sports court, it would take that threshold above the $1 million and it would no longer qualify. So we have to keep the two projects separate. That's news to parametrics. So apologies, we just found that out today. So we were like, why would you say that? But you know, it happens. So, but anyways, I don't believe that we will begin to do any work on that project till after the first of the year. So, we're budgeted for next year and it's already almost Thanksgiving. By the time we tried to get cultural resources working, we'd be into Christmas and might as well just wait.
Sure, correct. Okay, thank you. So JC, where you said 30% signed, so we're still waiting to finish it until we decide what the state wants to do?
Yeah, so we've submitted our structural, there's a bit of structural coordination with the state as well, because we're putting the water line on the side of their bridge, box culvert, thank you. So we're working with the city on the design, the state is moving forward kind of their, what I call two projects, the roundabout and the fish passage projects further towards South Prairie. We meet with them every week, every 2 weeks, to go through coordination items, things like that. So best we can, we're in coordination with them, but, I feel like they're constantly changing a little bit. So once we get to 30%, we'll submit that to the state as well, so they have it for inclusion in their plans as they're moving forward.
Okay, thank you. And we, Ryan gave us the binder for the water. The black binder you gave us?
That was the general sewer plan
Right, okay,
draft.
okay, and that's completed now, right? I mean,
So right now we're waiting on Ecology's comments back.
oh, that's right. I'm
And they'll
sorry.
incorporate those in and then it will essentially become a final
Draft type
product,
product, okay,
essentially. So
that's right. I forgot about the ecology thing.
yeah, and they have 60 days to review it once they receive it. Also, kind of at the same time when they received it, they also had all of their ecology funding applications and requests for designs, feasibility studies, actual construction. So they're working through a huge slew of funding applications and requests. And they're aware that they need to look at ours. Just they're working on a couple things for us right now, which includes the general sewer plan. So
Okay, thank you. I think that's pretty good. Thanks, JC. Public Works, Mr. McBee, are you ready?
yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. Let's start talking about a couple of these things. So ordering emergency evacuation bridge update. Thanks to the council for approving the pigmented sealer. They're getting ready to start working on applying some of that sealer in those hard to reach spots while everything's covered up over the top of the highway. On the west side, they're getting really close to being able to pour the concrete for that straddle bent over that shaft that had the rock to deflect it. So that's all been installed, all formed up, getting ready for that. You will see as you drive by a large spoils pile right there, but they're making sure that they've got that covered. Once they get concrete in the ground, I think it's scheduled for this week or really early next week. Then they'll just have to wait for it to cure and then they'll put that spoils pile back in. But at this point, things are going smooth and we're looking forward to being all the way above ground coming up here in the next couple of weeks. You'll also see that they'll start stripping forms on the ramp on the west side here shortly. They were starting to pull some forms as we were driving by on our way here to the chamber. So definitely looking forward to that. Moving on, if there's no questions on the evacuation bridge, to Kansas Street Southwest. We've got a great project update for you on that one. I provided a copy of a truncated copy of the bid tab for you, just for reference. We had 18 bids that were received, and that's the truncated version, yes. In an effort to not print a document that would have to be unrolled like an old telegram. This one here, I just went with the low bid, picked the middle, and then the high bid. So we had bids that ranged in total of high of 7 million to a low of almost $4.7 million. So Parametrics provided a lot of the bid support, and we definitely appreciated that because we opened 18 of those. And I'm glad they were taking care of reviewing all of those on our behalf, which was great. An awesome partnership. So what you'll see coming for the Public Works Committee in December is going to be both the contract with the contractor, also a construction engineering agreement with Parametrics as the engineer of record. You'll also see a PSE agreement for the street lighting that's going to be installed as part of the project. And last, a task order contract for KBA as our construction management team member.
That will all come next month, you said.
Yes, sir. Mhm.
We look to send that bid to study session in December.
Yes, that would be the goal would be to get it hopefully approved in December. If not, it would be probably the first council meeting in January, possibly. And for record purposes, the bids are good for 75 days. And correct me if I'm wrong, JC. Yes, sir.
I don't know if that's good for us or good for them. Good for,
These bids get for you.
Yeah, definitely good for us, definitely. But yeah, it went very, very smooth. The budget's already been put together for the project completely. You'll see as we go into December, funding is coming from the TIB grant, stormwater, streets, and water for the overall completion of the project. So we'll get you guys a much better breakdown. Due to the close nature of getting all the bids tabulated and put together, there was no way that we felt we would be ready to bring a good quality agenda bill forward. Plus, later on in our agenda today, we've got a agenda bill for our construction management firm that we need to get through first before we can actually move on to, okay, now we can do a task order for you guys. But we are proceeding with asking them for a task order cost for Kansas, so we can actually put it all together. Any
Great.
questions on Kansas?
no, sounds good. Thank you.
And then the last thing that, as far as Kansas is concerned, is all the poles. Utilities have been relocated off of those at this point, so PSE should come through and start pulling their poles. So, moving on to Safe Streets for All. Thank you for attending last week's meeting of the interest group, if you will. Things are going good. The survey, I believe, just ended online, so we'll be looking forward to getting some of that information and comments back for Safe Streets for All.
Well, that was today, wasn't it? Or the 4th?
Yeah, I think it was the 4th is when it closed,
Okay,
but we'll be looking forward to getting some of that information and then presenting that to the group again. Foothills Trail realignment and safety enhancements update. Right now, we're kind of stuck in a loop with local programs from WashDOT. We've updated information, sent it to them, and then they send back more comments and questions for us to address with McLeod Record. So there's a little bit of back and forth there. Council did approve it. So right now we're just trying to make sure that we cross the T's and dot the I's with WashDOT local programs so we can actually execute the contract itself. So I think we're getting closer, but right now they also had a lot of funding related requests that came in September that they're having to work through. So it takes them a little bit of time once we get information back. So
that's because of multiple people requesting at the same time. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, multiple people requesting, and then it's likely that some of the federal shutdown has some impact as well.
Sure.
Then moving on to comprehensive plan updates, we talked a little bit about water system and stormwater, the general sewer plan. Again, we're just waiting on comments at this point from ecology. Kim Gunderson, Community Development Director, she has been working on the SEPA portion of that, and we've been receiving some questions and comments from whether it's the Puyallup tribes or some others that have reviewed it. So we're working on consolidating all of those to be a part of the final product as well. Essentially for the planning documents, it's more of just an awareness. Hey, if you're actually going to be doing construction, you're in an area where it's likely that you could find Native American type of artifacts.
Artifacts.
So just be aware of that. For the biosolids facility construction, that one there is a little bit more in-depth, a little bit more questions that we're answering. But Wilson Engineering is helping to provide that information as well.
So you're on the task that you've kind of presented to, or that the council's aware of.
Yep. And then last item on that page of the agenda, general sewer plan and biosolids facility updates. Already alluded to the general sewer plan being with ecology. Also, the biosolids facility is sitting with ecology as well, both the facility design report and the actual 90% design. So Wilson Engineering's reached out to me earlier this week about scheduling a 90% design meeting with city staff, likely to happen sometime in the next 2 weeks. And that's kind of where we're at with that one.
Okay. Is parametrics involved in any of this, or?
Parametrics JC will help us out a little bit as engineer of record here for the city itself as our city engineer, but not to the level as he would be if they were the design firm of record as well.
Okay.
And we have reached out to JC with several questions, and he's been helping out and supporting as well as needed. So,
Okay, nice. That it?
and I've got one more
Okay.
thing to just add in there. Sorry, Laura, I didn't have this in there in the agenda, but after the general sewer plan, we'll talk briefly on the lagoon sludge reduction and storage project that we've put together. And I've got a handout for you too. If you want to grab your. So I've got a little talking paper put together for this one. As you know, we were trying to coordinate a contract to come in and address the solids concern that ecology has in the lagoon. But, and I'll just kind of go through, read it verbatim real quick. General, the city of Orting in coordination with Washington State Department of Ecology is implementing an emergency project to reduce lagoon levels at the WRRF by lowering the water surface elevation 1 to 1.5 feet in cell 3, which will in turn reduce the overall water surface elevation in the entire lagoon. The reduction will be achieved through solids removal and dewatering using geotextile tubes, also known as geotubes, installed on an impervious liner with full containment and filtrate return to the lagoon by gravity within the berm or pumping into the lagoon from outside the berm. Water barriers will be used to stabilize the geotubes to prevent movement during and after filling in specific locations. Several geotubes will be stacked to maximize the storage inside the berm. Should additional tubes be required, this will be done on the backside of the berm on the road between the lagoon and Public Works, with the filtrate being pumped back to the lagoon with the same safety precautions. The city will submit a technical memorandum and sampling and analysis plan to Ecology showing the geotube's layout, containment method, and water return system. Following dewatering, the city will determine long-term beneficial reuse or disposal options for the solids in the geotubes. This will help prepare the city for future land application in summer of 2026. City staff have completed many of the testing requirements prior to this effort and will share that with the contractor. Test results demonstrated the solids in the facultative lagoon meet a Class B requirement, and pollutant concentration limits are lower than those described in the Washington Administrative Code. It's estimated the facultative lagoon is full, and to achieve the desired water level drop, 1,500,000 gallons will need to be processed through polymer addition into the bags to store 50 to 100 dry tons of recoverable solids. The liquid from the bags will be returned to the lagoon for storage and further disposal if needed. This estimate was determined by the city engineer. Staff have surveyed the lagoon, and solids range from 0.75% on top to 4 to 5% on the bottom. The overall objectives of the project is to drop the lagoon by 1 to 1.5 feet, maintain continuous operation of the lagoon during the operation, ensuring all filtrate are contained and returned to the lagoon, and then to also cover the geotubes to prevent stormwater being directed into the lagoon, and then to store them for gravity dewatering or future application. If you flip over to the back page, got a summary of costs here. To control project costs and reduce procurement delays, city staff will procure long lead items to include the geobags, the waterproof membrane, the polymer, which is the coagulant, and gravels for the site to slope to the lagoon or to the pumps. The contractor will provide all other materials, equipment, and personnel to complete the site and transfer the lagoon solids into the geobags. The following is a summary of the known costs at this time. So what you'll see there is city procured materials with tax is $175,000. The contractor price is $292,000. Technical support, $7,500. That's JC with his city engineer hat on. We opened a task order to track those expenses, with a project total of $474,500. And then we also included the taxes for the contractor and a 10% contingency. So our final total will be about $549,960. And our budget line item in the current approved budget is $500,000.
Okay, that's better than 9 million, isn't it?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Way better than 9.5 million.
So, do we know who the contractor is yet?
Yes, I actually, over the last couple of weeks, both Engineer Hungerford, myself, and our team have been working with several different contractors to kind of get a rough order of magnitude cost. First one was Quig, which came in significantly higher. Fire Mountain Farms was also part of that process, and they were going to provide us a bid, but they ended up partnering with Quig. And I'll probably mess up their name. Roglands, yeah. Roglands is the likely person that we're going to go with. Both the city attorney and our team have put together the emergency contract scope of work and gotten that all buttoned up, and I sent that off to a contractor today. So
Okay,
as soon as
thank
we
you.
get that back, we'll be ready to roll.
Roglands did a similar project for the city of Montesano.
Okay.
Exact same, similar scope of work, but I
Yeah.
mean geotubes. So, they were really, they're well qualified and I had good experience with them. So that's how we contacted them for this emergency was, through the experience there.
That
And so they're comfortable
Montesano,
with
yeah.
doing this. And that's something that, I keep emphasizing with the Ecology folks as well as, public works staff is working with the contractor that's knowledgeable of the process and, wants to do the project, goes a long ways.
Yeah,
So I think it'll
that
be
does make a
beneficial in
difference.
getting it done, so.
Are they out of Aberdeen?
Yeah, yeah. So they do a lot of work out there.
Yeah.
We coordinate with them a bit out there for those projects, but, yeah, they actually brought that solution to the table for that project because they were gonna do mechanical dewatering. Their sub fell through and they procured the bags and, set up the site and, all the logistics associated with it, so.
So for the most part, we'll be just using their labor and equipment, and then we've bought all the product, or I mean, we're acquiring all the product, correct?
Yeah, we're working on that procurement strategy right now. We've got cost quotes for everything and approximate lead times for those materials to get here. Once everything is declared by the mayor, we're ready to go and execute the contract with the contractor. Most materials will be here within 7 to 10 days, give or take shipping. So some of the other material is stuff that we can purchase here locally from Washington Rock and have that stuff delivered kind of as an as needed basis, or I can send a guy up there to go pick it up. So the team is ready. We've done all the site prep that we can do, short of just doing a little bit of final grading for what we've got. So
Okay. And this is, this, my understanding, it doesn't have to go to council? Or where are we at with that?
I'm going to leave that to Kim and the mayor.
Okay. We'll probably maybe get a report at study session then,
Yeah, likely you'll get something.
or we got a meeting before that? No,
Yeah, you will have one more regular session before
study session.
study session.
Okay.
So, should the mayor declare an emergency in order to expedite the project and safeguard the plant facility systems itself, the council will have to kind of ratify that emergency declaration next Wednesday.
Okay, right. Okay. So this would be the kind of report we're gonna see.
Yeah,
Okay. Next Wednesday, I mean, something for the council.
yes, and we can make sure that we include that.
Sure. Okay, great. Okay, anything else?
Nope, I'm good for now.
Thank you. I was surprised how many people were involved with that safe street stuff. I'm going, wow. So looks like they're taking it serious, or we're taking it serious.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I will say Ashley has done a great job of networking with interested parties that are outside of the city of Ording staff and council as well. Being able to have folks from the Trail Coalition, the county, and others, I think will definitely bring value to the overall outcomes on that project.
yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it covered the whole spectrum of safety. I mean, you're looking at all the impact this city has from trails and public and thoroughfares and everything else. That was pretty impressive.
All that credit goes to Ashley, for sure.
Okay. I'll tell her thank you.
I will.
Okay, now that's it for Public Works, Ryan?
For now.
Okay. Well, how about finance? Hi, Tammy.
So just some updates on some of the grants related to the projects they're working on. We received just under $1 million in October for the pedestrian bridge. So, we had two requests that we had submitted for reimbursement, and we got both of them. One was middle of October, end of October. So we have another one that's going out, that had Josh, or the mayor, sorry, signed today, and it was just under 500,000. So we have another payment we'll expect in November. We have approximately $2 million remaining on that grant. So for reimbursement, which will probably flow over into the middle of the first quarter, we'll probably expend all those funds. And then Safe Streets, we have not billed yet. It's a slightly different type of billing, and so we're waiting to hear back for some training on how to go actually bill that one.
Is that because of federal stuff?
Yeah, yeah, it's a little more cumbersome because it's federal. White Hawk, we're slowly billing because there's only minimal charges associated with it, but that's another WashDOT grant. We received a few payments for them, but it's only a few $1,000s. And then for Kansas, once we figure out what the final numbers are gonna be, so there's been a slight shifting of numbers. We're gonna update the budget for that for 2026 because that's all gonna happen in 26. And we'll start making sure we have the funding to do our portion of that. So the TIB grants require 10% match. So we'll make sure we have our funding available for that as well. But we're looking at updating our CIP and updating the budget accordingly with our CIP to make sure it all is flowing correctly. And then also looking at doing a forecast to kind of forecast out what our capital projects are and how those things are going to be covered with our, whatever our portions are for these. So most of our grants have anywhere from like a 5% to 14% match or so. And we just want to make sure that we're using our funds appropriately and that we're planning for that in advance. So as we have these other projects that are coming up, we want to make sure that we're watching these matches closely so that we have the funding available. But that's all for us.
Thank you. Do they, when you apply for the grants, they tell you the percentage of match they expect, right?
Yes.
That's what I thought, so.
Yeah. And TIB, all TIB is 10%, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's only when we have some other grants where there's a slightly different, like, so the bridge doesn't have a match necessarily. It means obviously the city's paid some things. But the other grant for White Hawk does, I think it's 13.6 or 13.4 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have an idea going into it, what our portion is going to be before
Yeah,
we actually apply for it. They can give you an idea.
so it gives you time to budget for it too then.
Yeah. I think you really, most of these grants require you to show that you have funding available, that you're going to pay your portion so that something doesn't happen during the project where it ends up stopping because you don't have your share of the funding. So TIB, what was Ashley was submitting today. So it was today that she submitted it, right? Yeah. She had approved that we had the funding set aside in our budget, that we were prepared for Kansas so that they would approve additional funding for that. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of people don't realize when we get a grant, we got to have money
Yes.
in the bank to get the grant, you know, I
Money
mean,
has to come from somewhere.
yeah. Okay, so is that it?
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, new business agenda bill item AB 2587.
Yep,
Ryan?
Agenda Bill 2587, Construction Management and Inspection Services On-Call Contract. It's also found in your packet. You will notice at the top that there's not necessarily a cost of the item or amount budgeted or anything along that lines because each one is going to be more project specific. And with this being an on-call contract, I'll kind of read a little bit more of that verbiage, but the budget for each task order will be determined on a project by project basis with a total of all task orders not to exceed $2 million for the duration of the agreement. Now, what we've included in the packet is the interview presentation from KBA, a scope of work, a contract, and verification for award management and a certificate of insurance. So the Public Works Department has identified the need for construction management and inspection services to supplement the team and assist with execution of capital projects. The contract presented is a master contract, and task orders will be separately negotiated and awarded per the city's procurement policy. And task orders will be presented to council for any task orders that exceed $50,000. A request for qualifications was released on August 7th, 2025. And published on Tacoma News Tribune, the city's website, and Builders Exchange. 2 proposals were received through a competitive process with KBA Incorporated, the most qualified firm. The consultant, KBA Incorporated, will enter into an agreement for services for an initial term of 2 years with an option for 1 additional year. The anticipated maximum total compensation payable to the consultant for services authorized under all awarded task orders will not exceed $2 million for the duration of the agreement, unless amended. However, there is no guarantee of the volume of work to be performed during the agreement period, nor will any or all funds be expended. KBA will not be performing any engineering, as they will not be the engineer of record. Engineering services will be contracted separately during design and construction. KBA Incorporated will assist the city with the following types of work. You can take a look at the scope of work for more information, but contract and team management, design phase constructability review of the engineer of record plans, pre-construction services, construction contract administration, and then field services such as observation and inspection, including material acceptance testing. And there is an asterisk there, for inspection services are included as a role in the on-call contract. However, if the city is successful in hiring a construction inspector, we will not utilize the on-call contract and will use the city inspector for capital projects. Having inspection services as a role on the on-call contract gives the city the flexibility should we not be successful in hiring a full-time employee, or if the city inspector should become over-allocated, we could contract inspection services. Regardless, only one inspector will be utilized for projects. Our recommended action is to move this to the full study session for discussion.
Okay, sounds good. So we still have that position posted, is that correct?
Yes.
For our own inspector?
And I'll just give you a brief update on that while we're kind of talking about that as well. We had 4 applications that have been received, and we interviewed 2 so far. We've got 1 more pending for the 12th of November. 1 candidate withdrew. At this moment, out of the 2 that we have interviewed, there is 1 that definitely stands far and above the other. The one for November 12th was originally scheduled for this week, but had a family emergency conflict, so we did reschedule. I anticipate that we will have somebody on board, or at least an offer presented, by end of next week.
Thank you. Now so maximum of 2 million with KBA, is that what they're called?
Yes.
KBA. But everything's as needed,
Yes, as
correct?
needed.
When you request their services, then that's when they'll start the clock.
Yes. And that's when those costs will then subtract out of that 2 million total cost. For example, with Kansas, granted, we do anticipate that we will have a construction inspector, but we will also ask them for what does that cost look like if we were going to have you do inspection services as well. But primarily there'll be construction management because we anticipate having our own inspector at that time.
Okay. But then if, like it says, if we get overloaded, we can use theirs.
Yeah.
And then is their cost about what we're paying now?
I haven't
Yeah.
seen any numbers
Oh, okay,
necessarily just yet.
okay.
But I will tell you, they focus primarily on construction management and inspection type services. They are very highly recommended. This is their bread and butter, as they have told us. They're actually doing different projects in the region. One of them is Sumner's new public works facility that they're constructing right now, and a couple others for the city of Sumner. I spoke directly with some of Sumner's management team, and they have been having a really good long-term working relationship with KBA.
Okay, good. That's good to hear. I was looking at anything else on that, Ryan?
No.
Uh, So I looked at the scope of work and scope of services.
Mhm.
So primarily, they're gonna be looking at when, let's say we get a design from Parametrics, they're gonna review it. Is that how it works, or any engineering firm?
Yes, we can request them to do a design review to see if it's constructible. Essentially,
Mhm.
it is something that I know has been discussed amongst council and concerns, so that is an option for us to do, yes.
Okay. I think that's for my basic question right now. That's it. So we want to move this to study session then, correct?
If it be the will of the chair.
Sure. Please, Laura, study. Thank you. I'll try to do my best. Okay. Anything else, Ryan?
Uh, Nope, not from me.
Um. I have no big issues, but we'll just stay abreast of how we're doing on the lagoon project, right?
Yep.
Is there any idea so when they're gonna pump the solid, or they'll just pump into the bags, solids and water drains off back into the lagoon.
That is correct.
And then does that get processed eventually, or settles out again? Or,
So there'd be likely some settling that would happen as well. That water would eventually need to be removed at some point, but it could remain in there for a long period of time. In the summertime, we do notice a lot of evaporation as well. One thing that this will help us, we'll be able to transfer from cells 1 and 2 over into 3. It'll help with the overall balance of the lagoon microbiology as well. So we'll hopefully be able to get more aeration involved to where we could potentially pump a little bit of it back towards the headworks, but there's no guarantees necessarily. One of the things that both Tammy, Kim, and I and the mayor are going to work on is what amount we need to put in for next year's budget. Because there is a technology that is out there that we're currently waiting on the lab results to come back, called G3 technology, which could actually remove all of our biosolids through a natural oxidation process within the lagoon itself. So it could make a hauling away of those biosolids unnecessary. At this point, we haven't seen those test results just yet, but we are cautiously skeptical,
tell you,
but hopeful.
is that
What happens to the salt in the bag itself?
those will get shipped off?
Well, so
Or-
they go in at we're assuming 2 to 3% solids once you mix up. So there's a range of like 0.5% on top down to 5 to 6% where it's more compacted on bottom. Through the process in about 6 months in Montesano, they achieved about 12% solids. So that reduces the amount of trips. It becomes a more stable substance that can be trucked in a typical truck and trailer versus a tanker to Eastern Washington. Ecology's preference is when it goes to what's called a beneficial use facility, which is land application. And most of those are Eastern Washington permitted facilities. So right now, what we're proposing to Ecology is that they sit on site for, until June, July next year. Then the city decides where they're going to go to land application through another contract with the hauler at that time. So if G3 does work, honestly, you could dump them back into the lagoon and allow that process to, essentially what the oxidizer does is wakes the bugs back up, and then through the biological process, you get some level of digestion. And actually what their literature says is that you're left with an inert hash-like substance at the end. Like Director McBee said, these lagoons are 20-year-old solids. There's not much biology left there. So they have had mixed results on these type of facilities. In the Midwest, they use it on treatment lagoons where that is the process, that all your solids or your sewage, raw sewage goes into a lagoon itself. And the biological process is active within those lagoons. So you have active biology there that you can further enhance with these oxidizers. So we'll see. I talked to the vendor yesterday. He still doesn't have anything back from the folks that represent this technology, the G3. So we'll see what comes of it.
But for now, we're planning on, once the bags drain, then we'll ship them out.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
They're-
it'll be a safer shipping process. It's not a liquid, then it's pretty solid.
It's cost effective, and it's a do it now mitigation factor. That's why we're looking at it. It can quickly be mobilized without bringing in a lot of additional equipment. The best analogy is they're sausage tubes that squeeze the water out. So they're like a compression tube that over time squeezes the water out, and the contractor does return. After that initial filling, you'll get a discharge. They'll come top them off in a couple weeks, then they just sit and the water leaches out over time.
Oh, I see. So when they settle down, they'll fill it up again or add to it.
Come back, top it off. Yeah.
Get your, as much possible in the product into the tube. Okay. Thank you. That'll work. I mean, anytime we don't have to be using tankers to haul stuff, we'd be way better off.
Not a pretty solution, but it's.
No, I mean, are we gonna have any odor issues?
Not likely. What comes out of it is a really clear liquid, and in Montesano, we didn't have any odor issues there at all. So the contractor and we were really surprised at what comes out of them in terms of a clear filtrate.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Through the bag itself? Oh,
There may be a need for in Montesano, they had to pressure wash them at one point because they do get a biofilm on them sometimes.
a film on them?
Yeah, so just to keep them from allowing the water to filter out, they found that pressure washing them once helped. kind of
Keep
keep
it porous
actively.
enough,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
so it'll drain.
Yeah.
Because it kind of eventually plugs up a little bit then.
A
is
little
that-
bit,
or-
you get a little bit of binding or
Yeah.
bonding, but they didn't experience much, so.
Okay. Well, thank you. Hopefully we'll get her done as the rain beats on the roof. So. Okay. Appreciate it. So Laura, we're only moving one thing to study session, is that correct?
Second, agenda bill 2587 for construction management on call project.
Okay. Thank you. And then we'll have our report for council. Type of thing, let them know what's happening. So we had some positive feedback from Councilmember Tracy at the last meeting, so that was good to hear. So appreciate it.
Yeah, Councilmember Tracy did reach out and we gave him pretty much the same kind of tour that we gave you when you started with Public Works. And he has lots of good questions, good clarifying questions, and it was a very productive conversation.
Good.
And definitely, we did extend our thanks to him for reaching out. We're willing to do that for any council member. Also, now that we're moving into that transition period where next year we'll have new council members, my intent is to grab time with each of the council members, whether it's individual or 2x2, to take them around all of the Public Works facilities and have those more in-depth conversations. That way they understand, hey, this is where we're at. This is the age of our utility systems and what we're trying to do. This is why the budget is designed and constructed the way that we're planning to do it. This is why your utility rates may be structured in a certain way. So trying to help kind of facilitate the conversation as early as we can with any new council members, and then of course with existing as well.
Yeah, yeah. It makes a big difference, made big difference. I mean, for me, never being on Public Works before, it sure helped, but I think that will help. Everybody's kind of on the same page, and when the discussions arise, it won't be the red flag.
Yeah.
Hopefully council will be more susceptible to asking questions ahead of time. So, okay, thank you. So we'll just, I guess, next meeting, we'll just recap, huh? Okay, thank you, Laura. We good?
Good.
Okay, anything else from staff? Thank you for taking your time. We're
Thank you.
adjourned. Thanks a lot, you guys. Yeah, didn't take long.